So if whatever I taught you, I've taught you before also. Nothing, no mystery in it. Okay. And everybody agrees that that's the right way to do it. In fact, even my intensive guys who are sitting in my room, in this room, have forgotten it. Right? The reason why they forget is why when you're under pressure, we go back to our root way of working. Right? So we forget everything because we are under pressure, forget everything. Now karna hai. Jo mere ko malum hai, wo karna hai.
Welcome again, everyone. Hope you had a great week. And thank you for joining again. Today is another college upskills session with Prasad. And today our topic is how to design a task. And we will dive deep into the world of problem solving. We will dissect a problem statement that Prasad will give us. And then we will come up with a solution with help of ideation and collaboration with our peers. Now, each and every time we will go into a breakout room with another peer, right? And we would ideate. And this will happen for 3 times, 5 minutes each. So every time we go into the breakout room, we ideate, and then we come back, we debrief, right? So this is going to be for thrice. And this session, again, is all about interaction and teamwork. So gear up for an exciting exchange of ideas and insights. And with that, I will invite Prasad to instruct us furthermore.
Thanks, Sai. So there is also a hidden agenda behind why we are doing this one specific task. Okay. Because when you go to interview with a type 3 company, this is usually the kind of task you would get. Okay. And what you would be expected to do is you would be expected to kind of break it down. You will get varying amounts of time, maybe an hour, maybe 5 hours, depending on what kind of an interview or what kind of a task it is. But you will have to figure out how you're going to solve this task. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to have teams. You just go sit down, discuss. So, Hoy, if you could share the task, that'd be great.
Hope you guys can see my screen. So here is the task.
Okay. So I want you to understand this before everybody heads out into your rooms. Okay. So the problem that's been given to you is about delivery boys who are a part of the food industry. Now, the way you traditionally look at delivery boys they are usually at the bottom of the food chain. You know, they're not being paid a lot. They're basically on their motorcycle, kind of zipping all over the place, delivering and stuff like that. But I think the question is there a way that you can make their life better for them? Okay, or their work better for them? So let's think through this. So they're, you know, the work that they do is physically taxing and time bound because they have to deliver food within a certain period of time. So usually on their app, they'll get a message. They'll have to rush to that particular restaurant, pick up the food. Maybe they're picking a bunch of orders at the same time. And then they'll have a delivery route that's assigned to them. And then they have to go through all that traffic and stuff like that, go through that delivery route and deliver it within the same time frame. Okay. Worst case, let us say you don't deliver in time, you're going to have, while you're doing this, people are going to be calling you like, where are you? What are you doing? And all that. So imagine while you're driving a motorcycle, people are calling and constantly kind of trying to get the updates. Okay. So the problem that comes through is this a fairly demanding, physically demanding and, kind of a job in the way that it's time sensitive. There's a lot of pressure to do multitasking, as well as you're going through some really dangerous traffic while you're delivering the food. Okay. So the core thing, the things that you as a company can support them is maybe limited, some kind of technology, either through mobile or whatever. And then you're also probably also tracking them, and you can provide updates and such like that. But again, that is pretty much whatever you can help them with is on their cell phone. Okay. So the challenge is, how do you optimize their delivery process while taking care of the individual's health and well-being? Okay. Now, when you look at the current market ecosystem, nobody thinks about the health and well-being of the delivery person. They just say, I just need to deliver the food. You're getting paid your money, get the job done. Okay. But you as a designer have to think from a different perspective. Everybody get this? Just say yes or thumbs up. And then, by the way, the people who have turned on their camera, I'm assuming, are interested in being a part of this. People who have not turned on their cameras are not interested in being a part of this exercise. Okay. So only the people that have turned on their camera are going to be set up into groups. Let's just go back to the problem statement and show it to everybody. Take down your notes, whatever your thoughts are, take a couple of minutes. Okay. Write down your points, whatever ideas you have, how you would solve this problem. Okay.
You'll find the
And again-
instruction in the chat.
And again, as you're approaching this, think of this as you got a task from a future employer. Okay. And how would you approach this? You need to solve this problem.
Prasad, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
So over here, there is no mention of business limit or capital limit, right?
Mhm.
So can I assume that there is no budget and I can do whatever I want with, with how much I spend on whatever?
Yeah, I mean, you can assume there is no budget, as in there is no
Okay.
money.
No,
Or you can assume that there is
When
a
I
lot
say
of
no,
money. So you can
no,
assume
yeah.
either ways.
Okay.
But again, you and your team have to decide. And again, think of this as this is a hiring task. You have to solve this from that perspective.
Okay.
There will be multiple rounds.
Yes.
But
Oh,
the
lovely.
reason, one of the reasons why I'm partial to doing a short time frame is because you need to decide what you want to discuss first.
Okay.
Right. So, because every team member will have an opinion, but which one is the most important thing that you need to discuss? So if you can figure that out, the game is won. So, team one, what did you guys discuss?
We were discussing the pain points of the delivery boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what were you trying to do with that?
So even before jumping to the solution, we were trying to. Okay. So before even jumping to the solution, we were trying to see what all problems does a delivery boy has. So basically listing out all the pain points.
Got it. Cool. Okay, so that's good. Who was your partner in this?
Mohan.
Mohan. Awesome.
Yeah,
Mohan,
and
anything
second
else
point
to
is
add?
also, yes, sir. Second point also we discussed about the time constraints and bandwidth also. So for
Okay.
that, we got a one idea, that is one guy is go to the same route, but other guy is want to deliver the same. So this the same guy got the notification, so they are coordinating and delivering the same one item to the
Okay, got it.
different streets, but the same location. Yes.
Okay, got it. So you basically did an ideation. You had some ideas and features. Okay. And you were looking at, well, what are the problems of a delivery person? Right? That's what you did. Those are the two things you did. Awesome. Team two, what did you guys do?
Yeah, Chut, you can go ahead.
Me, Bhaskar, and Abhishek were in team two. And what we did was, ideally, we looked at the problem statement carefully and understood what is actually being a problem. And then we wanted to understand why is that a problem. So when we were doing that, we got to understand what are few factors that are contributing to making that why, which are contributing to that why factor.
Okay.
And what are the
And-
adverse effects for it if not,
Yeah.
if that was not achieved, kind of?
Okay.
Few outcomes.
So what is the risk? So you basically looked at the risk of not doing it.
Yeah. So if we
Right.
can talk about it. So it is a penalty or delivery fees that would be pushed back on the uh, delivery person. And if it is the other thing, so focusing more on navigation when navigating through unfamiliar routes rather than even worrying about delivering the food. So there's a focus shift for him to do it. So there are 2
Mhm.
points which we thought about it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So team 3.
So Padma, sorry, Padma and I, we were just wrestling with a couple of ideas, understanding the pain points and stuff. We were just wrestling with a couple of ideas, and this is in a very infancy stage. So I'm just going to share what we, the top 3 things that we just thought about. So firstly, the entire user experience is not just with the application that they're using, but the entire delivery experience and the way they are handed over the food and everything. That entire thing is what is total user experience, right? Because like a bad experience in either one of these things will not lead in total satisfaction. So the entire thing has to be there. So for that, delivery boys have to be immensely sort of rewarded in ways that they are made happy. So the first idea we had, which is slightly going to take a hit on the business.
Okay,
would
wait.
be-
We don't need to talk about the ideas, but I'm curious about the process. So the first
Yeah.
one was you ideated.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What else did you guys do?
So we just threw out some ideas, and then the timer started running out. So we were trying to find out like errors in pros and cons in each. So we just threw out the ideas and then wanted to analyze pros and cons, and that's when the
Got
timer
it.
ran out. Yeah.
So you did the ideas and then pros and cons for each of the
We
ideas.
were about to start, so if we go again, we'll.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So team 4. So you missed something. So everybody missed something critical. So keep thinking about what you guys missed, and then I'll get back. So team 4, what did you guys do?
Arshi, you can go on.
Yes, I started off with comparing, doing the competitor analysis and comparing different apps, how they are giving solutions, providing solutions for the delivery partners. But my partner told me to look into the pain points and first then come to solutions.
Okay. So lead with pain points and then do a competitor analysis. So that's what you guys discussed about.
Yes, and also,
Awesome. Go ahead.
We observed 2 things, like from the problem statement. One is the delivery process and also the health of the delivery person. We just started discussing about that. And
Got it. Okay. Cool. Awesome. So team 5, what did you guys discuss?
So we were discussing about how we should approach the problem statement. So first was to understand the goal. Then second was to like identify the audience. Okay, audience is there, but and then we need to identify their needs and pain points. And then after that, we would list some ideas or use cases based on our pain points or and the customer's context, and then we'll prioritize them and then we'll choose and then we'll solve them. But then when we were discussing about customers, basically defining our audience, basically our time ran out. So yeah.
Okay. So you basically defined the process of how you're going to do it. But then when you got to the time of discussing about the customer, you ran out of time. Is that right? No worries. Okay, cool. So Simran, you have something to add?
I just wanted to ask if, like you said, that we all missed something, right? And
Yes.
I just wondering if it's this. We didn't find out how much of time we have to solve this. So
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
that was one. And second thing is, if we knew how much time we had to solve this, then we can think about the process. But I think all of us thought it is within this 1 hour, and we just have to come up with something. But like we should have done some basic research of talking to some delivery boys and finding out, like doing a research interview study with them and then starting a process from there. Did we miss that?
See, that was a good point. So some of you asked this question, which was, hey, how much money do we have? Okay.
Yeah.
Which is a good question. I think what you should have done is, see, what are the constraints that I'm playing under? Okay. Remember that the goal of this exercise is that you're applying for jobs. Okay. Some company has given you a task. Okay. You're not doing this as part of your job. You understand? So it cannot be a multi-month process. So the outcome of this exercise is to showcase your work to the company. That is the outcome. Correct? So how much time do you have? The question is, okay, are you being invited to the office and you've been given this task to solve in 1 hour? Or have you been, given this over email and said, take as much time as you want? Or have you been given this task over email and been given 24 hours to solve this? What is the context of this task? Isn't it? The final outcome is not actually in solving the driver's problem. The final outcome is actually getting the job. Isn't it? So you guys got confused.
Classic, Prasad.
Right? So now that you know, you can ask me 3 questions. You guys figure out what questions you want. Ask me the questions, I'll clarify some more. Okay?
So
And then, yeah, so 1 second. I think Garima has been raising her hand. And then, but the thing that you need to be thinking about is, okay, you're going to get 5 more minutes after this. Okay? And one good thing that Akash and team did was they thought about the process, but they thought about the process without understanding the context. Okay, so you did half the job, but the remaining half you missed it. Okay, so what is now important is understanding the context and then thinking about the process that you're going to use to execute. Okay, and this is what it is. It's like, the more senior you get, the better you get at your job. The more time you spend in planning, not in executing. Okay, go ahead, Simran. You have some questions. And again,
Yes.
everybody else, feel free to ask me any questions, because the next 5 minutes will start, and then you want to make sure you have enough data to kind of go into the next discussion. Go ahead, Simran.
So I wanted to ask, how much time do we have to solve this problem? Question number 1.
Okay, so imagine that you've been invited to come into the office of this company. Okay, and this is a design task that you've been given for 1 hour.
I have to solve this problem in 1 hour.
Yes.
Okay. And any other constraints I have? Like, can I interact with the people from the office who are probably...
Yeah, you have about 3 minutes to ask any clarifying questions of the interviewing person, which is me. So if you want any clarifying questions, this is your opportunity.
So the thing is, do you have data about any research that was done to validate this problem statement in the first place?
Good question. So what we have realized is that we lose about 50% of our delivery boys go through a turnover every month. Okay. The second thing that we also realize is when we look at our Twitter handles and stuff like that. Sorry.
It's just, Fatma, can you just type, please? Thank you. Yes, Prasad, please go on. So you said
again, there's no guarantee that Padma is going to be a teammate in the next one.
Okay, I'll start 1 second.
So the team will change.
Okay. No pressure. 1 second. I'll just open.
Okay. So the first data point that we see is we see high turnover amongst our delivery boys.
Okay.
The second data point that we see is there's a lot of Twitter and chatter on social media talking about how bad a delivery boy's life is. So there's like this issue about, how badly companies treat and all that, and which is directly impacting our brand as well, because they see us as not being socially responsible. okay, or as not being humane. So that is a big challenge that we have as a PR level. Okay,
Yeah.
so those are the 2 data points that we have.
So
But
when you say
good
high,
questions.
so when you say high turnover, what exactly do you mean?
Which
So you
one?
meant-
High turnover means people leave. So if I have
Okay.
100 people, 50 people leave. So literally every month, I have to hire 120 people to
Okay.
keep my team growing.
So you lose how many people per month on average?
50% of my people leave.
50%. Okay.
Okay. And so the turnover is actually very, very expensive because I need to bring in people. I need to train them. I need to, and once they train, they might work for 3 months and then they all leave. Then it's a waste of time and energy. So there's like a lot of costs associated with that.
So I have 2 last questions. One
Okay.
is, how are these delivery boys paid? Are they paid like a commission, or are they paid a monthly salary?
So it's a combination.
Okay.
So there is
Base pay plus commission.
there's a base play plus there's a commission for the quality of service that they deliver.
Okay. And when they leave.
And the number of deliveries that they do.
Okay. And when they leave, that is the last question. When they leave, usually there'll be like an exit process for any employee, right? So assuming, since you said that they are salaried, I'm assuming that they are an employee at a very low level. So as an employee who's leaving, they'll have an exit process, and over there, is there any feedback that they give as reason for leaving? Because that form.
I think the biggest reason that we get is my health is suffering.
Health, okay. Health, like no elaboration on health. Health could be
See, at the
multiple
point that
reasons,
they're
right?
leaving, they're already pissed off with you.
No, why I'm asking is because health could be weather conditions, because these guys deliver in rain. Health could also be that too many rides, back pain. Health could also be I'm aging, therefore I can't ride for so long.
See, we don't have all that data because the thing is, when people are leaving, they're already mad at you or they're already suffering. They've already made up their mind. There's nothing you can do to keep them. And so they're basically saying my health is suffering and I'm leaving.
Awesome. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. So that is the bigger challenge there. Okay. And that fact may be true, may not be true, because there might be multiple factors, but we do not believe that we have the full data on that as part of the exit interviews.
So another question that I had was, definitely I will work on this problem. But what I wanted to understand was, right now as I'm working, I'm kind of thinking if my solutions would have an impact on the revenue turnover for the organization. So what I wanted to ask was, if at all there was any solution that is being thought of within the organization, but they are lacking behind implementing it because it could bring out some other issue. What is that? The reason why I want to know is I would treat that as a constraint if at all the team has already thought of a solution but not working out on that end.
So there are no solutions in place.
Okay.
Okay. However, I think from an executive leadership perspective, we have a problem where our CEO is constantly looking at our social media and all that, and we believe that it is affecting our branding. It is affecting our strategic growth in the long term. So we have to solve this problem very, very quickly. Otherwise, we are going to lose out market opportunities.
Basically, it's on PR level, right? How it is happening, the goodwill of the organization in the audience.
One is the goodwill. The second is we can't keep hiring 50% people like that. We will basically go, if we hire like that, we will go through the whole population of the state in a matter of 2 years.
Got it. Clear.
Okay. So we are, this is something that is very, very critical from a management level that we need to solve. Okay. So there is one question that you guys did not ask, and I'm going to help you with that question. The question that should be asked is, okay, what level of seniority are you applying for? Okay. Now, the level of seniority that you're applying for is somebody who's a senior individual contributor. Could potentially be promoted into a lead within a matter of a year. okay, where you're managing people. So I am basically trying to understand your ability to do your work independently, as well as in the future, potentially manage people. Okay. Awesome. Are we ready for the next 5 minutes? All right. So you want the same teams or different teams?
I've already swapped everyone.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So team one, get going. What did you guys discuss?
We tried to pin down that one problem which will inevitably solve at least 60% of the problem. There are areas that will be still left to be worked out, but in the constraint of 1 hour that I have to solve this, I have identified distance as one contributing factor where if I solve that, a lot of other issues could be worked out.
So what you have done is you looked at the problems. So what you've done is you've done
Focused on
a
the
root cause
solution.
analysis.
Yes,
And
root
you
cause
found the
analysis.
core problem that will solve other problems. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. So
We have not yet arrived at any solution. We were just thinking what is causing major problems in different areas.
fair enough.
That one
Fair
thing
enough.
that solving will solve a lot of problems.
Awesome. Cool. Team two. And if you haven't figured out, most people will make a mistake in this one also. So you've made another big mistake. So you need to think about what is that second big mistake that you've made. So go ahead. Who's team two?
Aruni, you can answer.
So if it's a mistake, then Aruni. If it's not a mistake, then you.
No, I can answer it. So what we have done is, so first, as I told earlier, so there are three component directions which I could think of, and I explained her. So we agreed upon those three things. Now we try to prioritize what kind of approach we have to take based on the discussion, like the quick deliverable, what we want to do. So once the delivery has to be quick, the solution has to be quick. We tried about optimizing or leveraging the technology to actually optimize whatever the problems were. So when we focused on, there were two different user groups, like existing users and non-existing users. So once we looked at the navigation component, the unfamiliar routes, what is causing the problem. So for existing users, we could actually analyze what are the familiar routes and suggest them based on those things. Whereas for the new users, we thought that we could actually have an onboarding experience where to know those existing routes.
So what you've done is you identified the core problems and then you try to ideate for those problems. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes.
Okay. So problems
Problems.
plus ideation.
Yeah. Problems and then directions and prioritization, then ideation.
Yeah.
Problem, direction, prioritization. On what basis did you prioritize?
On the discussion, what we have done right now. So
what was your criteria for prioritizing?
So the company has been getting so many requests that on the Twitter and all, we have to ship that fastly, any solution. So that faster delivery of the design.
Speed was the problem you solved for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got it.
Speed of executing this design.
Speed of execution. Okay. I would actually argue that the correct problem to solve for is PR.
Okay.
It's not about solving a problem like a real world problem. It's about creating the PR to say that I'm solving the problem because you're losing market share on that.
Yeah.
Right. So, that's my argument. Okay. Why solve it fast? Why solve a real problem if you can market it?
Yes.
Right. Again, it's a thought process. I'm just giving you a challenging thought process. I may or may not be correct.
Yes.
So I'm just giving you a counter. Okay, team three.
Hey, Prasad. What Arishi and I focused on is the constraints that we have, which is this 1 hour time, and also prioritize health. And then we don't have the time to survey everyone. So we prioritized one aspect of the health, a problem, and see how many other problems could be solved within this. And then we just sort of started ideating on where health could be beneficial, at the same time also solve or not hurt the business with regard to the amount of money they spend per year on.
But what you did was you took a theme and you started ideating around that. Is that correct?
Yes. And
Awesome.
also, and the backbone of this thing is the solution that we come up with will be invested back into the marketing and PR so that the brand doesn't get hurt. And one of the approaches would be to like encourage the CEO on, the founder or whoever wants us to solve this on the importance of brand protection with countermeasures and stuff like that.
Got it. Okay, cool. So now team 4.
Yes, sir. Okay, I'll ask the question later. Okay. We discussed on after talking to you, like from your inputs, the two problems we are looking at it is one is the bad PR which is happening on the social media, and the other one is retaining the employees. Those are the two things. And after that, the way we started, like given the time constraint, we thought of to retain employees, there's the two things. One is their health, or else there can be another reason for which they are leaving. So, and the other aspect is what's the negative buzz what we are getting on Twitter platform, social media platform. So we wanted to understand what's happening in that, social media handles, and what can be the reasons to employees like quit the company. First, we want to
So you started looking at ideating on the problems, the core issue,
and also validate, check with the current process and evaluate the current process, then go to the solution. That's how we plan. Out of which one idea what we got is there can be one reason why people are quitting the company is they are looking for other opportunity, like better opportunity. So where we are thinking, how can they climb up the ladder in the same organization? That's
cool. Awesome. So again, I can fairly say that the core point is still being missed. There is one more step that you missed. So think about what you forgot. Team 5.
So we have also thought what is the core problem. So we have thought on health basically, and then we start ideating according around that particular main problem. And like we discuss few things which can be prioritized first and second that way.
Got it. Okay, cool. Now, is there a team 6?
It's Akash and Pranav.
Yes, we have.
All right, go ahead.
So just a second. Yeah. So I think our team discussed about the problems that delivery boys currently have, right? What is causing their actually problem? What is the root cause, right? And we want to know what are the major touch points of a delivery person in this journey. So we are looking at the user journey that they are going through, right? And the second aspect we are also looking at, has somebody solved this problem, this similar problem, right? So we were doing secondary research. So based on that, we also got on some news report on Economic Times that X company has solved similar kind of problem via this.
So you basically did some kind of an analysis to say, okay, there's some other company, who are the guys, where can we learn? And you prioritize the problems. Is that right, Akash?
Yes, kind of. We are looking how they have solved the similar kind of problem, and we are listing down many problem ideas, and upon that we will prioritize them. Okay, which one is high priority item to choose, right? And which one is going to make the impact, right?
Awesome. Okay, so still everybody's missed the point. The point I was trying to make last time around was this. Why are you doing this? You're not doing this to build a product. You're doing this to get a job.
Yes.
Correct? You have 1 hour to showcase. is it realistic for me to tell you in 1 hour, you have to do all of some design and give me a solution? Is it realistic of me?
No.
So there is still something I'm looking for. So I'm not clearly looking at your core design skills. Okay. I'm looking for something else in that 1 hour. What is it that I'm looking for? So what was the point I made last? The question that nobody asked me that I answered. I said, you guys are interviewing for a job as a senior IC, okay, as an experienced individual contributor who might potentially become a lead next year. Correct? So what is the big skill that I'm looking at? Individual contributor by definition means you can do the job by yourself.
Correct.
Correct? So if you can do the job by yourself, that means I am looking for the ability that you can manage yourself and execute yourself. Given a problem, you can manage and execute by yourself. And tomorrow you should be able to teach and guide other people. Those are my two priorities, right? Exactly, Bhaskar. Timelines, right? What I'm looking for from all of you is what is the timeline of execution? Because you cannot do this in 1 hour, isn't it? So I'm looking to see, do you have a realistic estimation of how long this task will take? What are all the steps that this task will require?
Right.
Okay. Once that is done, then the second thing, and unfortunately, I was trying to do a third breakout room, but we are running out of time. So I will give you the script. Okay. I'll tell you the story of what is expected. Okay. Now, once this is done, once the timelines are done, I would ask you to prioritize. Well, what is the problem? So what I would say is you would have identified, okay, we have a problem with perception. Okay. The CEO says we have a brand problem. So there's a perception problem. Okay. The second problem is we have a health related problem, right? The third problem we have is attrition. Okay. Now, if you look at all of them separately, attrition, see, if you have attrition, what you can do, you can increase the salaries. Right? That will potentially reduce attrition, maybe not to 100%, but it will maybe reduce it by 5, 10, 15%. Right? So there are different strategies that you can play out here. Okay. So potentially the way you want to look at it is, okay, I've got 3 or 4 problems. And this is what I was trying to challenge Bhaskar on. Okay, there's a perception problem. So you list out all the problems. Then you say, which problem is going to get me the most immediate results? Now notice, when I gave you the problem, I said the CEO tracks our social media. And so he believes that we have a brand problem. So the CEO has made it a priority. Okay. So that was the hidden messaging I gave you. Okay. Then I also said, we also see that there are people leaving. Okay. So that's an operational problem. There's a COO problem. There's a chief operations officer is worried about all his people leaving or her people leaving. Correct? Then you get to the third problem, which is health, which is, what the health is probably a CEO, COO problem, which is saying, people are complaining about health and stuff like that, which is also a branding issue. Okay. So now the question that you have to ask is, okay, well, which problem am I going to solve? What is the time it's going to take? So if I'm going to solve the brand problem, it might take me only 2 weeks. Okay, because I had to partner with the marketing guys, create a brand marketing, and then create an app or something around that, launch it. Okay, so you're not really doing something, you're just basically saying we are going to give you like 5 days, or we will create a university program, or we will basically create a timeout, whatever it is, the marketing guys will come up with a solution, we will create a brand strategy around that, execute. It might only take 2 weeks. If you're saying I want to solve the health problem, okay, it might take you 5 weeks or 6 weeks to do the whole design process. Okay. Or if you're basically saying, okay, no, instead of a health problem, I'm going to solve the, what was the third problem that we had identified? Brand, health, and attrition, right?
Attrition.
If I want to solve the health attrition problem, that might take even longer. Okay. Because it requires very deep level changes within the organization. Okay. So what I'm looking at you is, okay, you say here are these 3 problems. This is the time frame that I'm possibly looking at, because that is telling me, oh, okay, you have the ability to look at all the problems and understand what is the cost for each of those solutions and how much time will it take. Because as an individual contributor, I'm looking for you to independently take the problem on. Correct? So some level of prioritization, maybe your prioritization is not correct. That's okay. Okay, because I do not expect you to be perfect, but I do expect you to start thinking on those lines. Okay, then you say, okay, if I was to solve problem number 1, this is how I would solve it. Okay, so what you would do in your hour is the first 10 minutes you would put for planning. Okay, never do anything without planning. Never give a solution. First plan. Okay, or actually before planning, ask questions. Ask your questions, understand the context, then plan. Okay, once you've planned, then you take the best, the most important problem that you think it is, and then you say, this is the most important problem, this is how I would solve it. Okay, and you might just do, here are 5 or 6 experiences, here are possible different solution sets, right? Or you might say, here is a different set of solutions, and here's the one solution that I like the best. So maybe what you're doing is you are thinking about once you're planning, you're thinking, ideating, coming up with a set of solutions, identify the best solution, okay, and then do some level of wireframes around that, okay, or workflows around that. Not even wireframe, just workflow. This is how I would solve it, and this is why I think this solution will solve. So again, go back to my communication class. What do I teach you when you're communicating? What is the problem? How do you know it's a problem, right? What is your solution, and how do you know you solved the problem? Isn't 4-point agenda? That's all you need to know. If you can identify the problem correctly, every task is in your pocket.
Prasad, could you repeat that again? That identify that 4-point thing.
See, what is the problem? Okay. Once you identify the problem, then how are you going to solve it, right? So what is the problem is you basically identified you asked your clarifying questions. Okay. Once you've asked your clarifying questions, what are you doing? You're doing your prioritization, right? So where you're saying, okay, here are the different problems. If I had to solve problem 1, this is how much time, whatever. So how are you going to solve it? You're talking about your strategy for solving it, your timelines. Okay. And I tell you, like 99% of designers don't do timelines, right? But at the end of the day, you're accountable for a business. If you literally just show a Gantt chart, okay. And in fact, when I got my first job, my first mentor told me, if you don't do anything, if all you have to do is learn Microsoft project, your career will take off like a rocket. That's literally what he told me. Right? And Microsoft project is the tool that in those days, I don't know if it's still around, but in those days it used to allow you to plan your whole tasks and your strategies and dependencies and all that. Okay, so what is the problem you defined, right? How are you going to solve it? You're talking about your process. Don't talk about the individual solutions. Talk about the process for solving. Then talk about the ideas that you have, and then you talk about, well, which idea are you going to take? So how are you going to solve it, right? How do you, no. So what is the problem? How do you know what the problem is? Okay. So you're talking about, okay, this is why I'm prioritizing this. Then how are you going to solve it? Then you talk about the process. Okay. Then finally you say, how do you know you solve the problem? You say, yeah, if I do this in 2 weeks, I'm able to solve. That's the immediate first level problem that's solved. Okay. And this is what it is, what you call is, this is the learning curve. Okay. So whatever I taught you, I've taught you before also. Nothing, no mystery in it. Okay. And everybody agrees that that's the right way to do it. In fact, even my intensive guys who are sitting in my room, in this room, have forgotten it. Right. The reason why they forget is why when you're under pressure, we go back to our root way of working, right? So we forget everything because we are under pressure, forget everything, now karna hai. Jo mere ko malum hai, wo karna hai. You know, and that is our natural tendency. Every human being will go through that process. So what is important is you have to just take a step back, take a deep breath and say, okay, let me execute this. Because the moment you do this, the other person knows, okay, this guy has strategic skills. This guy knows how to plan. This guy is on the fast track for promotion. This guy can execute independently. I don't have to worry about it. They will be able to explain what they're doing, what they're thinking, and therefore I get it. Awesome. Cool. So if you're interested, just, Hoy, are we going to send out a survey anyways after this?
Yes, I'm going to
Yeah,
send
so
out the survey.
just ask this one question. If you guys are interested, I would love to kind of get into more practical aspects of design and play around with them. That'll be more fun. Okay, cool. Chalo then. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thank you,
Talk to you
guys.
soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.